Hi, welcome to Workflow App Configuration Tutorial. Workflow App allows you to set up structured step-by-step process on your Monday board. Before you start, you need to have a Monday board ready with a status column. In the status column, the labels need to represent different steps of your process. The Workflow App functions based on that. We recommend to lock the status column, meaning to restrict it to edit only by the board owner, so other people cannot change the status from here and only work through the Workflow App item view. Let's see how to set it up. The first thing we do is to add the Workflow App configuration view from the apps. Initially, the system will request me to authenticate, so I will do so. Once it is done, the first thing I will do is to set up the steps of my flow. First, I will select the status column on the Setting button. Here you select on which status column you want to work on. Following that, I will use the drag and drop user interface to build the flow. In our case, it is a recruiting process, so I want the first step to be a new applicant, the second step to be a phone interview, the third step to be a personal interview, the fourth step sending a proposal, and then the applicant is hired and the recruiting process is completed. In addition, from each step in the process, we can reject the applicant. From the personal interview or the phone interview, we can use loopbacks to provide to the candidate a second chance. In order to create a loopback, we are going to use a design line by clicking on the default line and designing it accordingly. Going to the Configuration tab, I can set for each step which column should be mandatory. In this case, when someone adds a new applicant, we have to add a CV file and select the phone interviewer, because in the next step, I will select that only the phone interviewer can be the person that will pass on to the next interview. In this step, I would like everybody to be able to add a new applicant, so I select all users in the permissions section. On the second step of the phone interview, I will select the following steps as mandatory: phone interview summary, interview status, and interviewer, and I will select the phone interviewer to be able to perform the specific step. So I will select the permission based on a person column. On the third step, I will select the following fields: interview status and interview summary as mandatory, and I will select the interviewer to be able to perform the activity. In the fourth step, the proposal step, I will select proposal as mandatory, and Natalie, our HR manager, is responsible to perform the activity. In that case, I will use the custom permission option and select Natalie as the approver, and I will save and click on Finish. Once I will click on that button, it will route me to the Instructions tab where I will see my progress. The next thing I will do is to install the item view. We only need to do that the first time we use it. I am going to an item, click the conversation bubble, and now I can add the workflow view. We recommend to set the workflow app as default, and that's it, we're all set. When somebody enters a new application, I will enter his name, the status column will be locked. We just click on the conversation bubble and going to the workflow app item view where I will see the workflow diagram. The partial diagram presents the current status, new applicant, and the next possible steps. I can also see the entire workflow, which is mostly disabled, by checking the Display Full Workflow checkbox. In order to move forward, I will just need to select one of the next available steps, and then I will be requested to fill in the required column CV and a phone interview, and click on Save and Next. Now on the second step, the phone interview, you can see that I set up permissions that only the phone interviewer can do it. In this case, only Daniel, the phone interviewer, will be able to perform it. Very easy, you can set up any workflow you want in a similar way. This can be done for project progress, sales process, R&D process, etc. This is one example of how to do that.